Okay, guys, just in this short screencast, I'm just going to take you through two examples of body paragraphs from oral reflections that scored 25 and that scored from essays that scored 25 and 24 last time I took a class through. So what you can see is this three-colour split in both of these examples, one on accidental death for an anarchist and the other one on death in Venice. And you'll be able to see as we go through these that pre-oral information during the oral and then impact on my understanding after the oral structure that each of these paragraphs seems to go through. So here, in this first section of the paragraph on accidental death of an anarchist, during a first reading of Accidental Death of an Anarchist, I'd questioned Fo's farcical manner and what encouraged him to take such a deep interest in political farce. The audience of this play is naturally curious about the origins of his critical representation of authority. So what we've got here is a state of mind that the student is describing and a level of understanding that is prior to the information given to you during the oral. Then the green section is the information that in this section was crucial to changing the understanding, but it isn't yet actually describing how the understanding changed. It's just explaining the crucial information. Throughout oral, we discovered that Fo was primarily influenced by the socio-political context of the time, heavily consisting of riots and turmoil caused by working class unrest. The Autunno Caldo during the Anni di Piombi was a period stretching from 1969 to 70, characterized by protests and strikes. In fact, the entire global revolutionary context of the late 1960s marks the text. There's the important information. There's the important information that connects to the question of Fo's farce. The yellow part is the most significant. You get the yellow part right, you pick up 3 out of 3 for the written reflection. And it's the transformation of learning the information in green on your understanding. So basically how you go from blue to yellow because of what you find out in the green part is the structure you're trying to go through in this in these written reflections. It says, therefore, through our discussion, we realized Fo was directly impacted by the social unrest with the government officials on both the left and right wing of the parliamentary authorities. We see the impact of this context in his consistent portrayals of his character, the maniac, as an impersonator and manipulator of the policeman's visions of reality. Where I had previously assumed that this portrayal said more about the maniac's character, I realized through the oral discussion that it was Fo's central vehicle for the criticism of authority. And this particular structure of directly outlining the consequences in the first sentence, through our discussion we realized Fo was directly impacted by the social unrest. Then pinpointing a precise way that this information has transformed an aspect of the way you've understood the text. We see the impact of this context in his consistent portrayals of his character, the maniac, as an impersonator. And then finally, this is an extremely useful sentence structure used. Where I had previously assumed or where I had previously understood, I later understood, that where I previously assumed that this portrayal said more about the maniac's character, I realized through the oral discussion that it was Fo's central vehicle for the criticism of authority. So you think that 3-part structure there, nice and neat in terms of pre-oral information learnt during the oral and then the impact of that after the oral. But then within this yellow section we have immediate impact, an aspect of the text that's transformed, and then a single sentence at the end. Where I previously thought this, I realized through the oral that in fact it was this way. That sentence structure is particularly useful for capturing that understanding. Then there's a second example here that follows the same pattern but is much briefer, and you can see this at work here. The oral also transformed my understanding of the socio-political situation in the early 20th century and its impact on the text. So there's the aspect of the previous understanding that was missing. Here's what the student learned in the oral in the green. Death in Venice was written in the build-up to World War I, a time of unstable international relations, huge technological advancements, and expansion within the military and intense nationalism in Europe. There's the information. Here's how it changed her understanding. The oral prompted me to consider the way in which the degrading political situation is mimicked by Aschenbach's own mental turmoil and his descent into degradation as it's slowly revealed by the ironic narrative voice. This narrative voice allows for the reader to perceive the artist's predicament as an internal equivalent for external global conflict. I think there's more that could be said here. You could finish off with a sentence just like this one, where I had previously understood Aschenbach's moral degeneration to be purely a private affair. After the oral, I realised it was an allegorical representation for the political situation in Europe. Bang, that would strengthen this paragraph. But as you can see, this is from a 25 out of 25 essay, so this structure is still operating in that paragraph from that reflection that was good enough to pick up 3 points. I hope that helps in terms of organising and writing your written reflections on the oral.